Looking for the best bets to make for NFL Week 2? Are you wondering which guys you should fade and which guys you should target for this NFL Sunday? Well, you've come to the right place. Let's talk ball and cash some tickets. Welcome, football fans, to another edition of IDP Plus Bets. That is right, folks. I'm your host, the D-Gen Doc. And hey, it is NFL Week 2. It is here. Football is here nonstop until February, and we're jacked up. Look, I feel great coming into NFL Week 2. NFL Week 1, we're all excited. We got these offseason projections. We really don't know what it's going to look like, but we got all these crazy ideas in our head. We kind of go all nuts, and we kind of blew our load, right? We talked bankroll management, so hopefully you managed your bankroll and didn't go crazy. But we got all excited. We've had that excitement out, and now we kind of have that NFL Week 2 clarity. We've kind of had that go. We got all the butterflies out, and now we see how these teams look. We actually can look at game film, and I feel awesome for Week 2, man. NFL Week 2. Football is here. Football is back. This is what we want, and the way this is going to work, we're going to go through 6 props today, 6 offensive props, and we're going to go in order of the smallest odds to the highest. And don't worry, we're starting off with a nice plus 125. So without further ado, let's get it started. We are heading over to Washington, where the New York Football Giants are taking on the Washington Commanders this week. And look, as a Giants fan, life was not great in week 1, and I'm not just being a homer here, but I'm going with Wan'Dale Robinson, wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson, over 4.5 receptions at a nice, juicy plus 125. All right, folks, a couple things here. Washington Commanders, Redskins, football team, whatever they want to call themselves, you can't call themselves a good defense. That secondary is one of the worst secondaries in the entire NFL. Also, they just picked up an injury there. Former first-round pick, Emmanuel Forbes, out for an indefinite amount of time. UCL sprain, requires surgery. So you have an already bad secondary. Now they're down a player, and you've got a team where, let's be honest, folks, Daniel Jones has been a horrific quarterback every time except when he plays Washington. He somehow turns it on and actually turns competent. I don't even need him to do a lot here. You've got a situation where Malik Neighbors just showed up today. I'm recording this Thursday the 12th. Just showed up today on the injury report with a knee injury. You have Darius Slayton dealing with a concussion. Now, there's still a chance both of them play, but they're coming in a little banged up. And Wan'Dale Robinson, even with those guys healthy, he had 12 targets last week. 12 targets last night. He went over this number in receptions, but 12 targets was clear by far Dan Jones' favorite target there. And look, Daniel Jones, not a great quarterback who can get it down the field, but he can throw the dink and dust stuff, and that is Wan'Dale Robinson's specialty. That's why they drafted him out of Kentucky, to give him the easy catches. So I think 4.5 for him to get 5 catches is going to be very easy, especially against a very bad defense. And I think both these defenses are coming in the game are bad. So it's going to be throwing all over the place. It's going to be a little sloppy, but Wan'Dale Robinson is going to easily get over that 4.5 receptions there at a nice plus 125. All right, moving on to the second play for the week here. We are heading over to Arizona, where the Los Angeles Rams are taking on the Arizona Cardinals. And we're going with a newcomer here. We're going with tight end Colby Parkinson over 3.5 receptions at a nice plus 140 there. Another reception prop that we're targeting. A newcomer, right? Tyler Higbee. Very, very late ACL, MCL spare. I mean, he may be out for the entire season, so they had to bring somebody in. And Colby Parkinson has been that guy. He is already developed some chemistry with Matt Stafford. And just last week, he went over this number with 4 catches. And now you have a situation where now we're dealing with no Puka Nacua for the entire game. Puka Nacua dealing with a PCL strain. He's going to be on the IR, miss at least 4 games there. So I understand Cooper Kupp is absolutely going to get his, but you got to be able to throw some other guys. And Matt Stafford has shown the ability to, I mean, he was playing with missing 4 of his 5 starting offensive linemen, going up against a good Detroit defense and went for over 300 yards. Now he goes up against a very porous Arizona defense that does not nearly have the pass rushing ability that Detroit has. Not only do I like the Rams here, but I love Colby Parkinson to pick up some catches here, especially as a nice, easy target valve. You know, he had hit him in the flat a lot of times. And it's a situation where they do come in with some offensive line injuries. I mean, you have an offensive lineman, an offensive tackle, and Alaric Jackson suspended. You have 2 O linemen on the IR, and you've got 2 more that are banged up. So this is still a banged up unit. He may have to get rid of the ball fast, and a safety valve tight end is the perfect solution for dealing with some of that picture. So give me Colby Parkinson over 3.5 receptions at plus 140. All right, folks. Now we are heading over to Carolina. That is right. But we're not targeting no Panthers. No, we are targeting Los Angeles Chargers, running back Gus Edwards, another newcomer here. Now, I know what you're saying. Everybody's talking about J.K. Dobbins, right? How does J.K. Dobbins look? He saw him bring that big run, yada, yada, yada. Look, don't get me wrong. He had a great game, but he's still coming off both an ACL and an Achilles tear. Those are major injuries. I'm not completely sold that this is just going to be J.K. Dobbins' backfield, right? And even if he does get a decent amount of the work, Gus Edwards was paid to be the goal line back. He's the bigger back. He had plenty of touchdowns with the Ravens. I think he gets back to these ways. Give me Gus Edwards anytime touchdown plus 165. So we're getting plus 165 here when they're playing the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers are maybe the worst team in the NFL. I mean, they might be worse than my New York Football Giants, which is very, very hard to do. They also just lost one of their best players, definitely their best defensive lineman, Derek Brown, torn meniscus repair, out for the season. So how demoralizing is that? You already got 47 put up on you by your division rival in the Saints. Now you come back home, and you have a situation where your best player is out for the season. You really want Gus Edwards running at you 40 times? Because you know what Harbaugh is going to do. Harbaugh is going to run the damn ball there for the Chargers. Justin Herbert may not need to throw the forward pass here. I mean, Bryce Young is terrible. I imagine that the Chargers are going to be up in this game for the majority of the game, and they're going to pound the rock. And Gus Edwards is going to get at least one touchdown there at plus 165. All right, folks, that is 3 prop bets, and that means we are halfway through. And before we move on, got to pay some bills here. That's right. Let me tell you about some great things we got going on over here at IDP Plus. That is right, folks. IDP Plus. Hey, you want to start off your season right with an IDP Plus subscription. Get 20% off any subscription for a limited time and get access to our tools, our data, IDP articles, and don't miss out on our subscriber Discord. That's right, folks. Hey, look, if you want to do that, you can get one of my articles there. Every week, I'm breaking down the biggest injuries in the NFL, and I'm looking at it with a little bit of an IDP fantasy lens, a little bit of a defensive lens, telling you, hey, I'll give you a teaser here. Jonah Williams, Arizona Cardinals, right tackle, just put on the IR there. Now, when he went out, there was only 1 sack given up. And when Kelvin Beachum, the backup tackle, came in, there was immediately 3 sacks given up. There's a huge drop-off there, right? So who are we targeting? We're targeting those edge rushers on the red side. So, Jared Verse, Byron Young, I think they're going to have some good games. So just a little bit teaser of some things you'll get with IDP Plus subscription. The other thing we have here is some promos. Of course, FanDuel, right? Go to idpplus.com/FanDuel. Get $50 in bonus bets when you deposit just $10. Hey, we don't discriminate around here. We also got a partnership with DraftKings. That's right, idpplus.com/DraftKings. Get $50 in bonus bets when you deposit $50. That deal expires next week on the 19th, so make sure you take advantage of that. Take advantage of both, right? Part of being a profitable bettor and a smart bettor is shopping around. So we're going to get you deals at both. That's just what we do here at IDP Plus. All right, folks, getting back to the props, getting back to the action. And we are heading over to the Dallas Cowboys versus the New Orleans Saints. And we are specifically targeting the alpha wide receiver in that game on that team. And that is Mr. CeeDee Lamb, over 110.5 yards at plus 205. Look, I know what you're going to say. You're going to be like, they didn't really look that great last week when you look at the box score. The Cowboys didn't need to pass. Deshaun Watson screwed that game up by himself. They had a punt return. They had plenty of field goals. I mean, Deshaun Watson simply couldn't score. There was no reason they needed to pass in that game. So don't be worried off about CeeDee Lamb's performance last week. I think he comes back and has a huge game. And even more so than the fact that I think they're going to actually need to score more points and keep it competitive the whole game. There's likely going to be no Marshawn Lattimore lining up on the other side there. He has been a DNP with a hip and hamstring injury. Hamstring injuries are particularly pesky to deal with mid-season. Even if he does play, he's at a high re-injury risk for this hamstring. I think at this point, with 2 DNPs, he's not going to play. So you have a situation where you got Paulson Adebo on one side who's pretty good, but you also might have the rookie Kool-Aid McKinstry. Can you imagine a rookie cornerback going up against CeeDee Lamb? I mean, he's going to dust them all day. Also for the Cowboys side, you got Jake Ferguson, who's a little beat up with his knee injury. He hasn't practiced this week. It's a chance he might play, but even if he does, I mean, that's Dak's like second or third guy. He's not going to have him there. So he's going to have to feed CeeDee Lamb. And with no Marshawn Lattimore, I love that lineup. You also got safety Tyrann Mathieu banged up there in the back end there. So it's not just Lattimore. They're coming in banged up. But let's be honest. Lattimore is one of those guys, one of very few guys that, you maybe start to say, hey, can they cover CeeDee Lamb? Maybe I stay away from him. But if he's going to be out, it is going to be some free chicken there for CeeDee Lamb. All right, folks, we are now heading over to Detroit, where we're heading to a dome. And when we're heading to a dome, we're talking offense. That's right, folks. We're going Bucs wide receiver Mike Evans over 100+ receiving yards at plus 270. Look, last time these two teams played in the playoffs not too long ago in the same dome in Detroit, Mike Evans went for 147 yards and a touchdown. He absolutely torched them. I don't understand who the Detroit Lions brought in that can stay with Mike Evans. Not only that, but, last week, this secondary struggled with Cooper Kupp and basically, Demarcus Robinson and a bunch of guys, right? A bunch of kind of no-name guys. Now you've got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, the rookie Jalen McMillan looks good, Rashad White. You still have Trey Palmer, Cade Otton. You've got a much more formidable force as far as skill guys. You can't just sit there and double and triple team Mike Evans, right? So there's no one on this Detroit team that can cover Mike Evans one-on-one. He proved that last time he played. So why would I fade that? Give me Mike Evans, 100+ receiving yards at plus 270. And our last play of the day, since it's a last play, we got to keep it spicy. And we're doing that with Foster Moreau. Foster Moreau, anytime touchdown at plus 600. Yes, folks, that is 6-1 on a guy who scored last week, was second in the team in targets and second in receptions. Derek Carr loves him some Foster Moreau. For whatever reason, I think personally Juwan Johnson is a better tight end, but Derek Carr doesn't feel that way. He consistently targets Foster Moreau. Foster Moreau was dealing with a concussion. He's already back practicing. He has a good chance to play this week. Obviously, if he were not to play, this bet would get voided. But I think he plays. Concussion injuries, not a great re-injury risk. And there's not really a production dip that we see after that. So that's a big thing. If he's out there, he should be good to go. So I love Foster Moreau here. 6-1 on a guy who scored last week. Just last week he scored. And he was the second in the team in targets and catches. I mean, I think we're getting a really, really nice price for a guy that the books clearly are not paying attention to, but Derek Carr is. All right, folks, we've went through our 6 props. Let's do a little bit of a recap of Doc's best bets for NFL Week 2. We've got Giants wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson over 4.5 receptions at plus 125. Rams tight end Colby Parkinson over 3.5 receptions at plus 140. Chargers running back Gus Edwards anytime touchdown plus 165. Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb over 110.5 receiving yards at plus 205. We've got Tampa Bay wide receiver Mike Evans, 100+ receiving yards at plus 270. And we round it all off with the cherry on top for the nice D-Gen little sprinkle, Foster Moreau, anytime touchdown at a nice, juicy 6-1. All right, folks. Hey, that's it. Quick and dirty. Gave out my 6 favorite prop bets for this week and why I absolutely love them. Hey, if you want anything football, head on over to IDP Plus. If you want anything football and betting, head on over to IDP Plus Betting. Look, we are a new channel, so we appreciate any likes, any comments, any feedback. And of course, if you enjoyed what you heard, and more importantly, if you had some fun and you want a little cash, definitely subscribe here at IDP Plus. We've got a whole lot for you. I'm going to be back doing this every single week. So I hope you start tailing with me, and I hope we start cashing together. All right, folks, from the doc here, we just did our NFL Week 2 best player prop bets, and I am out of here.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.